All right, guys. So Borussia Moenchengladbach, I hope I'm pronouncing it that right, versus VFL Bochum in the Bundesliga is about to kick off on Halloween. Happy Halloween, everybody. Hope you're doing okay. This is the first Watchalong I've done, I think, for a Bundesliga game ever. And we're going to see how it goes. You know, Joe Scally, this is his 12th start of the season. I believe he has 11 in the Bundesliga and 1 in the DFB Pokal. And so it's going to be fun to just do this and watch him play and hang out and talk soccer. I usually try to do at least one live hangout a week. And I didn't want to do one later tonight because it's Halloween. Go trick-or-treating, go to parties, have a blast. We'll do this morning. How's everybody feeling? Some people I didn't watch the Sargent game, but I heard he was not good, which is just so sad, man. Just so sad. I didn't watch the Venezia game either because I was asleep. So if anybody watched Busio, and particularly Tessman, I'm very interested in how Tessman did. Let's see here. So we have Borussia Moenchengladbach lining up in their usual formation, I believe. Let me hang on. I'll check get it right. It says on Google that it's a 4-2-3-1, but usually they've been playing more of a 3-4-3. With Joe Scally playing more as a wing back than a right back. Gavin Powers says Tessman did well. Jonathan Walker. Pete, your voice sounds like such a Sunday morning voice. I know. Hey, Ken, how are you? I'm glad to hear that Tessman did well. I think Tessman should be pushing Kellen Acosta for backup minutes. At the 6 for Tyler Adams, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm not really comfortable going into Qatar with Acosta as backup to Adams. Berlin Amerikaner will listen to Pete type on Big Soccer and watch the game on TV. All right. A lot of multitasking there. Yeet Yeet says, I've given up on Sargent. Might be a little early there, buddy. He's only 21. You have to remember that. Remember, Josie was 25, 26 when he went to Sunderland and flunked, but he was still very useful for the national team for a long time. Osman Gomez says, I don't feel comfortable to go to Qatar with Berhalter. Well, like it or not, Osman, we might. That's probably the situation. Busio and Tess both got quality minutes. That is what is important. Yeah, Ken. I mean, Tessman has 200 minutes now at least for, Venezia. Oh, by the way, guys, I interviewed one of the owners of Venezia this week. So I'm going to put it on YouTube probably after the international break just because it'll catch more fire then. I think, if I put it on this coming week, we're going to be talking about rosters. We're going to be talking about the Mexico game and all that stuff. After the international break, I'll upload the interview. Kevin Polite. Yeah, I got the Gladbach game on my phone, Pete on my laptop, and the West Ham Villa game on the TV. I need to set up a proper watching station for myself with 2 or 3 TVs so I can live stream and watch 2 or 3 games at the same time. Right now, what I'm doing is my girlfriend and I have the TV in the bedroom. So whenever I want to do a live stream with it, like a watch along, I have to get the TV, bring it out here. I'll show you guys. So the TV is there, balancing between my 2 tables. So I need to upgrade probably at some point. Tamale Killer. Bring up Jonathan Gomez now. I think you mean call up Jonathan Gomez now, because I agree with you. I think he needs to be in this roster, not necessarily to play, but we need to get him into a camp. We need Ricardo Pepi to talk to him. We need, Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, Christian Pulisic if he's there, Dest, all these other guys, making him feel at home, making him feel like he's part of the U.S., saying, hey, bro, come play at a World Cup with us. All right, so the game just kicked off. We're in the 4th second. And the good thing about ESPN is everybody's on the same time because it's not playing anywhere else. Oof. Early shot by Bochum, but he was never getting past Joe Scally there. That was Holtman. Yeah, guys, my setup is a little rudimentary. Yeah, it's a little rudimentary, but one day I have a dream to have my own like room in the house that's like my soccer room, and I can have like an armchair with like or maybe one of those gaming chairs with like a desk, laptop, two screens. I can like do all this stuff. Got a little like cup holder in the easy chair, one of those. All right, Joe Scally looks so much more comfortable in possession than I remember him. I'll be honest, guys. I don't know. I think some of you. Oh, Scally again. He's really involved early on, huh? Oh, oh. I don't know if some of you remember the only Joe Scally info or data we had was that Mike. How are you at 120? When I'm only is everybody? You can only watch this on ESPN, right? I was like 3 seconds behind. Okay, I'm at 142, 43, 44. That's where I'm at now. I think that's right. But yeah, like the only data we had on Joe Scally before this move was the under-17 World Cup, and he was not good. Now, to be fair, neither was Gio Reyna or Gianluca Busio or Ricardo Pepi, right? Those were three other guys who were at that World Cup, or at that, under-17 World Cup. But what I remember thinking about Joe Scally is he looked very typically American, where he was, athletic and strong, but not particularly technical. And then when, Gladbach came in and bought him for like up to 7 million from New York City, I was very surprised. Oof. Header on goal. I was very surprised, and I was skeptical, Now that being said, he has improved technically so much. I don't think he's ever going to be a Serginho Dest type of player. But he's a different kind of fullback from everything I've seen from Scally. He's better at defending 1v1. He's more of a pure fullback. He uses his strength and athleticism well, and he's technical enough to be able to be a big help in the build-out without giving the ball away under pressure, right? So right now, they need to make sure not to let him get overloaded here. Right. I'm going to call him Scallywag Joe. It's going to be my nickname. That's going to be my nickname for him. I think it's just standard stream delay. Okay, right now I'm at 3:31, 32, 33, 34. And I am as far into the stream as I can possibly be. So I don't know how this is possible. Maybe I need to try going back and clicking live again. Yes, KK Bay, L3 coming up. Exactly. Cannot wait, guys. Cannot wait. Paul Arriola to start. Did you guys see Paul Arriola's goal for DC United last night? Oh, Joe, come on, Joe. Ooh, oh yeah, get up again. It's good. Oh, look, he wins it back. Come on, give it to Joe. Oof, that was nice little work to win the ball off Holtman in his own penalty box. The thing about Scally, if you look at his stats are really good compared to other fullbacks all over Europe because he plays so high up, because he plays as a wingback. So he's often pressing very high up the field and getting involved in the game really high up the field. Yeah. Man, Gladbach really started out on the front foot, huh? I'm a DC United fan and Manchester City fan. That Arriola goal was a beauty. It was a great goal. Beautiful goal. I don't know if he'll ever have the kind of time and space that he had in, for the national team to do that. But I can appreciate good goals when they happen, right? I mean, look at Leggett. Leggett had a beautiful goal when I was in stadium. Oh, come on, Joe. Oof. Joe wins a corner. Yeah, Leggett had a beautiful goal when I was in goal. When I was in the stadium. Arriola has a beautiful goal. I honestly think that a guy like Sargent right now would benefit from being in MLS, because he'll score goals here. He absolutely will. He'll get 15, 20 goals a season. His confidence will go up. And that's the thing with Josh right now, is 3 years of being at terrible teams with so much pressure and very little service has completely ruined his confidence. And for a striker, confidence is everything. And I think that's why he's playing so poorly. It's not that he doesn't have talent. Don't get beat, Scally. Don't get beat. I don't think Sargent is ever going to be an elite forward in the world like, a Lewandowski, but I think he can be a serviceable top 5 forward, top 5 league forward. But I think he needs a bit of a reset. And, look at him when he plays championships, guys. He scores 2 goals against the championship. Most of his goals for Bremen, oh my God, Embolo, what a player. Most of his goals for Bremen last season were against the 2 Bundesliga teams in DFB Pokal. And he scored twice in DFB Pokal in his opening game of the season. I think if he just dropped down one level, like a second division in Europe or even MLS, he can spend a year, recover his confidence, and then move back up. That's what MLS honestly should be. It should be a place where, young players can develop their first couple of years as professionals, and then get a move abroad. It can be a place where players come for a reset, sort of the way Zach Steffen did. He was at Freiburg, right? He wasn't getting game time. He came back for Columbus, played 2 years, got a move again, and then goes back to Europe. So it's sort of a career reset in some ways. I think that could benefit Josh. I also think, and then obviously it can be for players like Leggett and Acosta and Areola, who aren't good enough to play in Europe, but they can still have professional careers and get paid to play soccer. So he's Josh Corporal now to me. Good one, Gavin. I really love how involved Scally has been, early on. So involved in the attack with the pressing high, combining in the final third. Boy, can you guys imagine if Greg doesn't call him up? Oh, yeah. Joey had a question. Sorry. Joey, are you hearing anything about Scally being called up? I'm not. I currently have zero information on the roster. But I wouldn't be that surprised if he's not called up, because it's Greg. I will be angry if he's not called up for sure. I will definitely be angry, but I would not actually be surprised, because Reggie Cannon is playing again. So if Greg calls Dest and Cannon or Dest and Yedlin as his right backs, I will not be surprised. Berlin Amerikaner. Pete, the last time Sargent scored a lot and was dangerous is when he was 16 years old. That was 5 years ago. 17, I believe, when he played up at the Under-20 World Cup. Look, Under-20 World Cup and Under-17 World Cup were in the same year. Josh played in both of them, and he did well. He was very, very good. And I know this kid has talent. I know you don't agree with me, or you think he's some kind of a midfielder. I'm telling you he's not. I know this kid has talent. I'm not justifying him right now. He's not playing well. And so long as he's not playing well, he shouldn't be in, he shouldn't be in the national team. But listen, if he was in MLS, he would be scoring lots of goals and people would have a very different opinion of him. Okay? Sort of like Gyasi Zardes. You put Gyasi Zardes anywhere near, European top 5 leagues, he'd be completely useless. Completely. And people will be like, oh, look, he's trash. So we have to understand levels. If Sargent was playing in MLS, which, to be honest, he might have been better off spending a year or two at Sporting KC before moving abroad. But, look, you got to give the guy credit for pushing himself, right? He could have taken the easy path. He could have signed a homegrown contract with KC, and maybe that would have been better for him in the long run. And I wouldn't have hated that. But, he bet on himself. I don't know if Norwich was necessarily the right decision after Bremen, but he's now at 2 clubs where they're not good for him. But I'm not going to give up on this kid. He's 21 years old, and anybody who's giving up on a 21-year-old honestly needs to reconsider, because there's nowhere in the world where you give up on a 21-year-old player. Okay, so don't give up on him just yet, guys. Mike Hunt says, because Boa Vista is greater than BMG, and that's a fact. It's weird. In a different world, Freddie Adu could still be in the picture. I don't think so, Mike. Freddie Adu is ancient now. I think he's in his late 30s. Can't imagine he would still be in the picture. Oh, he's only 32. Yeah, if he had ever developed properly. Don't even get me started on Freddie Adu. The end of Sporting KC taking my hometown St. Louis talent is over, with St. Louis City starting soon. Oh, Kevin, you're from St. Louis? That's cool. Oh, Scally. The thing about Scally, guys, is that he's never going to beat... Oh! Scally assist! Scally assist! Scally assist! Scally assist! Scally assist! What a cross! Are you even watching, Greg? Are you even watching? Isn't that great? His first assist of the season comes at our Watchalong. This is why we did the Watchalong, people. Look, I'm doing the Megan Rapinoe thing. Scallywag assist. Let me put that on Twitter. People will come hang out with us more. A fantastic cross from Joe. Probably didn't, had time to do it, obviously, but still a good cross. S27. Greg is watching Will Trap clips. Aaron Alexander. I think I answered this one already. Oh, do you think CP? I did not. Sorry, Aaron. Do you think CP has a chance to play against Mexico? We have to see how much playing time he gets. I think if he is in the roster, which, guys, it's possible he may not be, off the bench, I don't think he will start against Mexico, because I don't think he's going to start for either of the Chelsea games. I think he might come on as a sub in the last 10 minutes against Burnley, and that would probably be it. So I honestly, guys, this might be controversial. I would almost be fine if, Pulisic isn't in this roster, because I don't think a half-fit Pulisic is going to be very useful to us. I really don't. I just think that unless he's at least 80% fit, I don't really see the point of bringing him. And also, with his injuries, do we really want to expose him to CONCACAF again and get injured again? I think he should stay at Chelsea, use the international break to get fit again, to, find his touch, find his form, find his rhythm. Remember, coming back from injury isn't just about, okay, I'm healed from an injury and I am physically, fit from a VO2 max perspective, right? It's also about finding the rhythm of the game again, and especially for a player like Christian Pulisic, who so much of his, game is based on form and confidence and rhythm. And I would just... I just wouldn't hate it if he wasn't in this roster. As much as I would like him to be there, I don't know how much he'll be able to contribute after not playing for 2 months. You know what I mean? All right. I wouldn't mind Josh staying in the championship with Norwich City FC. Great place to get confidence. I agree. Hopefully I will see him play against Portsmouth, since I'm a fan. I agree with Chris on this. I think if Josh, finishes out this season and then drops down a level to the championship, he'll be scoring goals there, because Norwich will be a good team in the championship and he'll get more chances and he will score goals. And then from there, his confidence will start to go back up. And I think we'll start to see the real Josh Sargent, who, like I said, I don't think it's, I don't think he's ever going to be an elite forward in the world, but I think he can be a serviceable top 5 league forward. And for the US, that's perfectly good enough. Roldan will start on the wing versus Mexico. No, I don't think Roldan will, but guys, it wouldn't surprise me if Areola does. Watch. Remember, he started Areola in all 3 games against in this last window over Tim Weah twice. So I would not at all be surprised if Areola starts against Mexico and he benches Tim Weah. So, yeah, this, Kevin, exactly. Areola start against Mexico. Greg will say that he got chances against Mexico in the Gold Cup final. He did not. Yeah, and he he missed the one chance that he got, just him and the keeper, and he smacks the post. It's been what, I think 14 competitive games now that he hasn't scored for the U.S. as a winger, okay, an attacking player. 14 games, he's got 1 assist, 0 goals. You tell me who provides good numbers. Also, after his goal and performance against Costa Rica, there should be no question that when Pulisic and Gio are out, it's Aronson and Weah. I think anybody with even the decent soccer knowledge, even people without soccer knowledge, can tell you that, I think. Gavin Power says, Triple G is like a cat in that he hears you, but he's either too stubborn to listen or just doesn't care. Yeah, man, it's so frustrating with Greg, you know. Did anybody listen to the podcast he did with Bobby Warshaw after this last window, where he actually admits he got the lineup wrong against Panama, but then he covers his ass by saying, oh, you know, Holtman, where was Joe? This is the problem. One thing Joe has to be careful of is when he's so high up the field, they're a little susceptible to the counterattack, and he has to get back quickly because that Holtman is his guy. You sound sick, Pete. Might be my audio. No, I just woke up. So I sound a little. All right, I'll try to sound better. How's that? Is that better for you there? Il Padrino. Yeah, guys, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with the Mexico game. The thing is, yeah, so what I was saying earlier is Greg Berhalter covers his ass by saying, oh, you know, the players are fine. I shouldn't have started them because they weren't in good form. They're not in good form because they're not good players. They're in good form in MLS. They're not in good form in the international game. They're just not good enough, guys. And watch, Conrad De La Fuente and Matthew Hoppe are probably both going to be left off of this roster so we can bring Paul Arriola and Christian Roldan on the wings. Watch. Just you watch. Oh, yeah, Berlin, Amerikaner. 47 likes, 147 watching. Smash that like button, guys. Smash that like button. Smack 243, Rocco Camiso. Yes, this stream has been sponsored by Uncle Rocco. Ooh, good tackle. We mistimed that. That's a penalty. Oh, maybe he didn't get the ball. Wait, is it a penalty? No, can't be. It is a penalty. Oh, no, it's not. Not a penalty. Pete, I know it's Halloween, but please stop scaring me with those roster predictions. I'm sorry, dude. Did you guys see the guy who dressed up as Greg Berhalter for Halloween? I put it on Twitter. I retweeted it. It's very good. He's got a little whiteboard that says verticality. Go check it out on Twitter if you are. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Here's a good question from Rain X. Who are some of the players you would like to see in the rumored December camp/game? Yeah, so good question, right? You know, if we're going to have an all MLS roster for the December game, we don't need to see these guys, Leggett, Acosta, Roldan, Arriola, Zardes. Like, we've seen them enough. We should use that camp, okay, to bring in guys who haven't gotten opportunities, young guys, okay? Some guys who have been probably with the U20s at Revelations Cup. If you play well at Revelations Cup, okay, and you're an MLS youngster, guys like Cade Cowell, Caden Clark, you know, Jesus Ferreira is a guy who I think should get a look. Possibly Ricardo Pepi if he's still playing. They may want to rest him for his move if he gets one in January. Oh, Joe. Oh, no, do not get injured, Scally. Do not get injured. No. Come on. Oof. Oh, now he gives it away. Scally looked like he's limping a little. Can you imagine if he gets injured right now? Oh, that would be so frustrating. So frustrating. Come on, Joe. Shake it off. Shake it off. Do you think that Greg will take Vines over Scally? It would not surprise me. I mean, if you're going to take Vines, at least take him over Bello, not over Scally. Different position. Scally's, the right back. I'm at a point where I think Scally could be there over, over Cannon for sure. If you want to take 3 right backs, fine. Like take Yedlin. I'm fine with taking Yedlin. If you take Dest, Yedlin, and Scally, I'm okay with it. But please don't take Reggie Cannon over Scally at this point. It's ridiculous. Rico de la Vega Scallywaggy is 29. 29 on that right-hand side. You'll see him. Okay, so as I was saying about the December roster, so guys like, let's see. Yeah, Jesus Ferreira, Cade Cowell, Caden Clark, guys like that. Jonathan Gomez, maybe, if he's not ready to go to Real Sociedad yet. That could be an interesting time to give him at least a friendly look. Maybe Gaga Slonina in goal, right? We don't need to see more of Sean Johnson. Like, come on. Matt Turner's fine, I guess, if you want him there. But have Gaga Slonina at least in the roster, have him train with us, reward him for good performances, right? Show, David Ochoa what he's missing out on. Gaga Slonina. I would like Jesus to get some starts. I think he's been really good for Dallas. Even Paxton Pomykal, Brandon Cervania, Justin Che could be an interesting guy to have a look at. And then obviously, look, guys like Leggett and Acosta, they're going to be in the roster, and that's fine. If you have to make up a roster from MLS, you're going to have to bring those guys. But yeah, Kevin Paredes, thank you, Bryant, for sure. Kevin Paredes, guys like that should absolutely be there. Even Moises Nyman, there's a kid, Jason Martin, I believe his name is, who plays for NYCFC. Jason Martin? Man, what is it? Played also. What's his name? Andres Jason, who's been playing really well for New York City FC. Bring him in. Leon Flack, yes. Maybe Paxton Aronson is another guy you bring in. Guys like that. Another guy you could possibly look at is Brian White, who's been playing really well and scoring goals for Vancouver Whitecaps. He's still 24, 25 years old. Kevin Palit, Mihailovic. Yeah, absolutely. Guys like that. Paxton Aronson. Yeah, bring those guys in. Let's have a look at some of the young MLS guys. That's what, honestly, the January camp, that's what should be for. It shouldn't be for these MLS lifers anymore. We're just giving them more minutes with Greg, more time to build camaraderie with Greg so that Greg can then prefer them over more talented, more technical players. Maybe Johnny Cardoso could be another guy we bring in from Brazil. Maybe a few guys who are on winter break in Europe, like in the Danish leagues, maybe like an Emmanuel Sabi could be a good time to call him up. Dominican stud. Yes, I saw this. Caden Clark got subbed in last night and assisted the game-winning goal. He really needed that for his confidence. He's been struggling since his appendectomy. And again, with young players and with a lot of players sometimes, especially attacking players, a lot of it is about confidence. We know Clark has talent. So probably that was really good for him, and hopefully he'll start to build momentum again, right? Yeah, Kappas, Tyler, 100%. I wish Eric Williamson was healthy. Me too, man. Mike Hunt. I'm at work right now. I love my job. I just sit and watch soccer all weekend. What job is that, Mike? Please tell us all what job is that so we can all apply for it, because getting paid to sit and watch. Oh, gee, dang. Did he just kick Scally in the head? Got to see the replay on that. Oh, he got the ball, and he smacked the ball against Scally's head, but I don't think his foot hit him. I don't think so. Rico de la Vega, car salesman. Oh, yeah, Uli. Dylan, I'm with you on that. Uli, Dante Sealy, maybe. I could also see that. Guys like that. 100% Uli I want to bring in. Don't sleep on Uli, guys. Still very talented kid. Remember when he played for every time he played for the US, he looked good. Terrible cross. Terrible cross. Give that to Scally next time. You know where I also think Scally could be good? I mean, look, Serginho Dest is our starting right back, right? For sure, and will be for the next 10 years at least. But, you know, I think that Joe Scally could easily be his backup. And also, if you want to play a back three, because of his size and athleticism, I think down the line he could be an option as a sort of a right center back in a back three. I think. In a pinch. Maybe not as a starter. You know, obviously we have Miles Robinson, we have Chris Richards, we have, you know, still John Brooks and some other up-and-comers. But I think that, you know, down the line, if you look at his frame, if you look at his size, if you look at his ability to win balls in the air, he doesn't get beat 1v1 very easily. Could be another option there. You want players who have their primary position but can still be pretty good in another position, you know. Okay, Mike, did Mike ever tell us what his job was so we can all go apply for it? Yeah, Mike Hunt, come on. We're waiting, bro. We're waiting. Jonathan Lewis and Ewell guaranteed call-ups. Oh my God, if Jackson Ewell is in that roster. If Jackson Ewell is in that roster. I work as in-house security for a corporation that is closed on Saturday and Sunday. That is amazing. Must be really boring, but if you can watch soccer, then great. I mean, if you're just sitting there all day, dude, I would totally do that. You bring your laptop, you watch soccer, you can bring books, you can read, you can study, you can, oh man, you can watch 11 Yanks videos on YouTube, all kinds of stuff. David Contreras, thank you, David. Happy Halloween, Pete. Happy Halloween to you too. You reckon Mexico will come out this November camp with 0 points given they have 2 tough away games to USA and Canada? I don't know, man. That's tough. I don't think so. I think Mexico's too good. You know, like you have to remember, guys, we did beat them twice, but they didn't have Chucky Lozano for either of those games, okay? And they didn't have what's his name? Oh my God, how am I blanking on their center forward? The Wolves guy, Raul Jimenez. Thank you, Raul Jimenez. So I think Mexico is going to be in a very strong position. I don't think it's going to be easy, but I don't think they're going to come out with 0 points. I would be very surprised. I would be pleased for sure if they came out with 0 points, but I would not be surprised. Come on, Joe. Don't get bodied off the ball. I would be very surprised. I think that Mexico is a lot stronger than we give. They're still okay. So Mexico is still susceptible defensively, right? Their defense is still very shaky, and that's where we can really hurt them, and Canada can really hurt them. But you know their attack is, you know, piping hot, and they still have a massive amount of talent in that attack, and they're going to be mad, right? Like for the Mexico team, come on, Scally, don't let them get a cross in. Holtman got so scared. He just saw Joe Scally coming. He had to take a bad touch. Yeah, I don't see 0 points. I would be thrilled if they get 0 points, but I can't see it happening. Okay, I can't see it happening. Oh, yeah, wait. Lozano was in the Nations League final. Oh, yeah, he was there. My bad, guys. He was there. You're right. One of their defenders are suspended for our game from Mike Hunt. Do you know which defender that is? Is that Johan Vasquez or is that Hector Moreno or Nestor Rajo? Wait, Jimenez didn't go to Mexico because of the UK-Mexico COVID rules? Wait, what? Is he not? He's going to be in their roster, man, for sure. For sure. Where are Gladbach, by the way, in the table? We should look this up. Could they be in fighting for a European spot next season? That would be interesting. Oh, they're not that high up. Oh, yeah, they're 10th. I mean, they have 14 points. If they win today, they're on 14 points. And currently, Europa League spots is 16. Oh, it's very close, huh? How about Leipzig down in 8th? The good thing is, if you look at the Bundesliga table outside of the top 3, how are Freiburg in the top 3? You've got Bayern, Dortmund, and Freiburg in the top 3 with 25, 24, and 22. But then 4th is Leverkusen with 17 points. But all the way down in 11th, you have FC Köln with 13 points. So that middle of the table is anybody can jump up with, a few good games. You're all of a sudden you're contending for a European spot. So yeah, it's very possible. Very possible. Oh, Araujo is suspended? Okay. Marcio Cardoso. Here's a good question. Could you see Miles Robinson, Turner, Zimmerman, and other MLS vets get a loan move to Europe? I could see Miles Robinson starting for Norwich. They could use him. Yeah, I really hope Robinson goes to Europe at the end of this season. And I know Atlanta fans may not love that, but I think for Robinson to improve, right, he needs to move because he's at a level now where he isn't going to improve in MLS. He's sort of conquered MLS, right? Won the league, played at the highest level he can play, and he's 25 next year. So it's time for Miles Robinson to move on and to really challenge himself. Now, he has to be careful the same way that Josh, you have to go to the right club, a club that is going to use you and where you're going to play, even if that means starting off at a lower level. So maybe a championship team I can see, start at a championship team. The problem with Miles Robinson that I can see, being an issue for European clubs is his distribution is good, but maybe not good enough for elite level teams. Sometimes, if they want to build out of the back, they want somebody who's even more comfortable on the ball. So he may have to start in the championship or even in a place like the Eredivisie, honestly. You can play in Holland, maybe Portugal, somewhere like that. Or I can also see him at a lower level team in like France, or even Germany, maybe, Not sure he should go straight to the Premier League just yet. The thing about Miles Robinson is that he's so explosive with his speed that sometimes he over-relies on it, okay? So good defenders read the game really well. And I'm not saying he doesn't read the game really well, but he can recover so well from bad mistakes that he sometimes isn't forced to read the game as well as he should, okay? And you're not going to get punished for that in, MLS, right? At a high level, you will get punished, even if you have amazing recovery speed. That will bail you out a few times, but many times it won't, right? Because the speed of play is so much faster and players are so much better and so much quicker, both on and off the ball. So I think for him to improve, if we want, Miles Robinson to be as good as he can be, he should go. He should go. Here's a good one from Martel. Pete, what about Miazga? He's been having a good season so far. Yes, he has. I hope he gets called in. I think he deserves another look. I've criticized Miazga in the past because he's been erratic as a defender, right? And immature in some cases, both in and out of the game itself. Ooh. Sometimes Scally takes a touch into pressure, and sometimes he gets away with it, and sometimes he really doesn't. But I think Miazga deserves another look with the national team. Okay, if we're calling up Mark McKenzie, who, by the way, is not having a very good season for Genk, then definitely, performing in La Liga is top 3 league in the world. If you're performing in La Liga, it's ridiculous to me that you aren't being considered for the national team, And that's the beauty about if you're playing at a high level in Europe, you're never out, in my opinion, right? Sure, form matters in a lot of ways. But if you're playing at a high level, you should always be in consideration. We're not at a place yet where we can afford to take a top 3 player who's performing, top 3 league player who's performing well week in and week out and not bring him in. Norwich thinks Newcastle is a powerhouse. Marcio Cardoso, I'm hearing that here's the situation on Luchi Gonzalez for the next under-20 coach. They've talked to him about it. He's actually open to the job from what I've heard, but that he's waiting to hear, like, I think he's talking to a couple of other MLS teams right now who need coaches, and he's waiting to see if he gets one of those jobs or if they're a right fit. I have a feeling it's sort of his backup plan for Lucci, where he'd rather get an MLS head coaching gig, but if he doesn't get one, then I think he'd be open to the under 20 job, and I think he'd be a very good candidate for that under 20 job. I've watched Lucci in person. I've met the guy when I was doing a coaching clinic in Dallas in 2013, I believe this was. Yeah, 2013. I went to a coaching clinic at FC Dallas. I was, oh, come on, Scally. You're not going to get to that. And I met him, and I said, "Hey, Lucci, can I come watch you train the under 18s and under 16s for a week?" And he said, "Yeah." And he was super nice, and I watched him, and I watched their training sessions for about a week, and I was very impressed with not only his understanding of the game, but his way of communicating with young players, right? He was very positive, but very firm, and didn't tolerate any BS, which with 17, 18-year-olds, you need to be like that. So he's got experience developing players for Dallas, and he's got experience in the professional game, right? 3 years as head coach. So I think he'd be a fantastic under 20 coach. I hope he gets that gig. I would rather get him than somebody else, than some guy who just I have to remember, guys, we had Anthony Hudson, who, I don't know, just because he's got a British accent, this guy keeps getting jobs. He was terrible in New Zealand. Terrible. If you ever watch New Zealand play, they had no cohesion as a team, no attacking ideas, nothing. Then he was terrible in Colorado. One of the worst coaches they've ever had, had the worst record of any coach in Colorado history. And then comes out and blames the players and says, "I've got a bottom group of players, so it's just, can't do nothing with them." Okay, gets fired from that. Not only does he get an under 20 national team coaching gig, which is just the definition of mediocrity, let's give it to Colorado's worst coach ever. But then he gets promoted to senior team assistant coach for no apparent reason. Meanwhile, the bottom group of players that he had in Colorado gets a new coach and are doing really, really well again. So it's just baffling to me how we have so many mediocre people involved with American soccer. I mean, look at that Swiss guy who was coaching the under 17s, who had a terrible, terrible World Cup with them. Just awful. And then at Chicago Fire, equally terrible. Guys, there's a reason a lot of these guys don't get gigs in Europe. It's because they're not that good. Honestly, they're really not. Gavin Power. He gets jobs because he's bloody British, mate. Rain X. Pete, what day do you think the qualifying roster will be released? I don't know. I really don't know. Either Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm hearing. One of those 2 days. Hopefully Tuesday. He very rarely gets beat, Scally. He has to track back, and he has to start his runs early enough to make sure he tracks back, because sometimes he doesn't. But generally speaking, when you're 1v1, when he's defending in isolation, and this is what I love about Scally, he very rarely gets beat. And that's at 18 years old in the Bundesliga. Imagine 4 years from now. He could be a Champions League right back 4 years from now, Hudson had a 17% win rate over 46 games in Colorado. Yeah, Tyler. Yeah. Dude, he's like the nephew of Harry Redknapp. This guy got so many jobs because of connections. So many jobs. Come on. Oh, what a finish, Gladbach. What a finish. Lewis Z. I love Scally, but he doesn't have recovery speed. Well, you're right, Lewis, but he doesn't. He's not slow. Okay, he doesn't have elite speed, but he's not slow. It's about where you start your recovery run, right? When you know that you don't have the quickest pace, it's like I said about Miles Robinson. You have to make sure your positioning and reaction speed is good enough so that you don't lose your man on the counterattack, right? And that might be why he's playing wing back as well. But I don't think he's slow by any means. And again, I'm less interested in your recovery speed than I am in your reading of the game and your awareness, because recovery speed is honestly for people who make mistakes in those two areas. I'm way more interested too in when you're defending in isolation 1v1. So if we lose the ball and you're defending 1v1 isolation, do you get beat? That's what's really important to me, because a lot of our fullbacks at this point do get beat way too easily. And so Joe Scally, I haven't seen him get beat very often unless it's by one or two like elite wingers in the world, right? So let's see. Roy Kent. I've actually only seen the first two. I've only seen the first two episodes of Ted Lasso because I don't have Apple Plus. I saw them on a plane and I liked it. I want to finish it. I want to watch the whole series. I've heard good things about it and I enjoyed the first two episodes. But yeah, I don't have Apple Plus. I've got too many streaming services already. Paramount Plus, Peacock, Amazon Prime, Netflix, ESPN Plus, Fubo TV. Most of them are soccer, as you've probably guessed. Mike Irish. I haven't been. Oh, but then again, it's Cannavaro. Oh, because he's talking to Gavin. I mean, Fabio Cannavaro was never fast, but nobody ever got by him. Yeah. Look at even Bonucci. I don't think Bonucci has elite speed either. Oh, boy. Good thing it wasn't Joe Scally who got beat there. What's interesting is that, like, when we, when we watch Americans play in Europe, we hyper-focus on Americans, and we tend to critique every little thing they do. And we don't realize that actually they're playing sometimes better than a lot of their other, guys on their team, because we're not watching those other guys as much. Not saying we should excuse poor performances, but oftentimes we tend to hyper-focus. See here, Joe Scally is a little slow to track back there. Both fullbacks were, to be honest. But that's one of the weaknesses, too, of playing in a 3-4-3, right, with wingbacks, is oftentimes they're very high up the field. Hey, States FC, how you doing, man? Bonucci fell asleep on the second goal yesterday. Isn't Bonucci, like, ancient now, too? Matt Maratta. Hey, Pete, I just joined the stream. How's Scally doing? Really well. Got an assist, a very nice assist from an excellent cross. Has had a few moments where you want him to track back a little better, but has been pretty good in possession. Has had some small moments where he got beat a little too easily, not in a 1v1, but just by the speed of play. But has been good enough in possession. He's very high up the field. He's pressing in the final third. And that's what you want from him. Mostly been very comfortable with the ball at his feet. Physical enough. Yeah, good, not great, I would say, from Scally. Good, not great. By the way, who saw Luca de la Torre play yesterday? You see Cowell's goal and assist yesterday. I mean, MLS defending, but good ball control. I didn't see the game. I did see the highlight of the goal. It was a good goal, but man, that defending. And this is a thing that we have to remember about MLS is you can do beautiful things in MLS because the defending is so bad. So bad. And sometimes that translates to the national team, a la Ricardo Pepi. And sometimes it doesn't, a la Christian Roldan, or, Leggett, Areola, Zardes. So, by the way, I'm going to Germany in December with my girlfriend. We're going to see her family for Christmas, and I'm just bummed that there's not going to be any Bundesliga games to attend because they have, they take time off. But it would be pretty cool to go see a Bundesliga game live while I'm there. That would be really dope. Pete, did you see Roldan get slammed in the goal, like with the goalkeeper or with the KC goalie? All right, halftime at Monchengladbach. Halftime. Okay, Matt Maratta. I know it's a small sample size, but how do you rate his performance at this level compared to what guys like Yedlin or Cannon could feasibly do? Better. better. I mean, there's a reason that Cannon is in Portugal and Yedlin's in Turkey, right? They couldn't cut it at this level. They both have issues. They both have issues defensively and technically. Okay, they're fine for the national team in CONCACAF. They will both be competent for the most part, right? Unless they come up against an elite player like Alphonso Davies or Chucky Lozano even. But there's a reason neither of them are playing in a top 5 league. I know Yedlin did, but he was playing for Newcastle and oftentimes didn't play for Newcastle, right? The problem with Yedlin is he still comes from the old school of American soccer development. Explosive speed, athletic, not very technical, right? And for a guy at 28, 29, his starting positions are still very poor. Very, very poor. If you talk about Joe Scally's starting positions, Yedlin is worse, right? There's a reason Yedlin is in Turkey and not in, a top 5 league. And Scally is 18 years old. And look, he's still young enough and the data size is small enough that it could all fall apart, right? But based on what we've seen, he seems to have the tools to be able to not only compete at this level, but to play really well. And if he stays focused and humble and continues to improve, that's the thing, right? You want him to not be satisfied. You want him to continue to work on portions of his game that he can still improve on. And let's talk about some of those. His starting position, his reaction speed when his team loses the ball. Even technically, he can still improve. In those little tight spaces in combination, he can still improve. He's not bad, but he can still improve. And if he continues to do that, he could be a Champions League fullback for years to come. So, Jacob Stopka. Hey, Pete, me and my parents really like watching your show after national team games. Thanks, man. I'm just wondering, what is your day job? So, Jacob, I do 2 things. One, I'm an actor. I live in Los Angeles, and I do acting. Acting is very inconsistent, right? Sometimes you have work, sometimes you don't. You just have to take it when they come. When I'm not acting, I am driving for Uber. So if you live in Los Angeles, I may pick you up at some point. By the way, when I was at the LA Galaxy game, there was a guy sitting in front of me, or like just to my left in front of me, who was taking pictures of me without like he had his phone up as if he was taking selfies, but he was leaning out of the selfies and taking pictures of me. And I was like, why is this guy taking pictures of me? It's kind of creepy. But he never talked to me or anything, so I don't think he was like recognized me from the channel. Maybe he did, and he didn't like me because he knows I'm not a fan of Legit. 89% pass completion rate for Gladbach. That's impressive. But yeah, Jacob, that is my day job. It's acting and Uber. And one day I hope to get to a point where I don't have to Uber, especially on weekends. I end up doing a lot of Uber driving on weekends, and then I miss a lot of games that I want to watch. But hey, bills must be paid. Bills must be paid. What if Matt Doyle gets in your car? Matt Doyle gets in my car, we'll have a fantastic soccer conversation, dude. It's great. Jacob Stopka, awesome. I can definitely see you being a great actor. You are a great speaker. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I actually have a movie coming out, I think in February. It's been doing really well at the film festivals. I directed it and acted in it. It's called Imago. I saw you last week on a show. Wait, what? What show, LH? I would love to hear this. Please tell me what show. Let's see. At Greg Berhalter, he was only signed because he's American. What are we talking about? Yeah, this is a problem, guys, right now for hockey. Not getting any game time at Mallorca, American ownership. And when they signed him, the president of the club said, yeah, with our American owners and with the American market, we do have to look at signing American players. They don't appear to believe in him for whatever reason. The problem is his agent. His agent couldn't find him a better. First of all, I said this at the time, and some people got mad at me for saying this. Why did he sign a contract with Schalke? Okay. He signed a contract with Schalke as they were getting relegated. He signed an extension with them. So now he couldn't just walk away for free in the summer. He could have had his pick of clubs for free. He could have gone anywhere. But for some dumb reason, his agent convinced him to sign a contract with Schalke. So now he's got limited options because not everybody wants to pay that kind of money for a player. And then he goes to Mallorca where he's not getting game time. I don't know why he's not getting game time, guys. When he played against Real Madrid, yeah, he wasn't perfect, but he had a good enough performance against one of the best teams in the world to certainly earn more minutes, right? So some of these young guys need better agents, honestly. Ethan Horvath, better agent. That's the only club you could find for that guy after he wins the Nations League with a penalty save and a strong performance. Get real. Honestly, some of these young Americans need to be a lot more careful about what agents they sign with, because some of them also, I'm not going to say their names, but the agents for guys like Uli Yanez and some of these other guys, Kobe Hernandez Foster, guys like that, Brian Kao, not doing a great job, their agents, I have to say. And stop sending young Americans to Wolfsburg. Oh my God. Constant streams all after the Rocco money. All right. Berlin Americana. I have been working on that in terms of agents. By the way, Berlin Americana, I'm not going to be in Berlin. I'm going to be near Frankfurt in Mainz. My girlfriend's family lives near Mainz. So, yeah, not going to be in Berlin. But we may come in the summer at some point, which would be cool. I'll hook up with you or something if we end up coming to Berlin. Long also screwed himself by signing a 5-year contract with Red Bull New York. Yeah, look, I don't know if that's really the case. I don't think that Long has the ability to play in a top 5 league in the world. He's very athletic, but his reading of the game is still poor. He cannot play with the ball at his feet. So in Long's case, I think staying at Red Bull was fine, right? Security, 5-year contract. I get it. He's also at an age where European teams are not going to gamble on him as much as they would on a young guy like Hoppy. So yeah, Long is a little bit of a different story. So no Pepe to Wolfsburg. Let's talk about this briefly. Look, I would hope that if Wolfsburg's going to pay $10 million for him, that they're going to give him a shot. But I would prefer him not to go to Wolfsburg. Partially because, we don't even know who the new coach is going to be. Well, I guess we do now. It's Florian Kohfeldt. This is a club that traditionally hasn't played young players. They have like 4 strikers there already. I just can't see Pepe getting a lot of minutes at Wolfsburg, or it being much harder for him to get minutes. I could be wrong, and he could go to Wolfsburg and ball out there. I think he has to be smart about this move, Pepe, right? We don't want him to pull a Josh Sargent where he's at a place where his confidence is, very low. He's not getting enough minutes, not getting enough service. I think Ajax would be a much better option. I think there are a lot of places I'd rather he go. But if he goes to Wolfsburg, okay, I hope that if they pay that kind of money for a guy like that, they're going to play him, And yeah, going to Europe is going to push him to improve. He still has so many areas he can improve on. So good for him to go. But I think really important for him is choosing his club well. Because especially going into a World Cup where we don't have enough strikers, we need our guys to be in good situations, scoring goals, confident, in form, getting pushed. Obviously, you don't want anybody to just be an automatic starter, but you want them to be in a situation where the level is high enough that they are pushed, but low enough where they have a realistic shot at minutes. Like he can't go to Real Madrid right now. Okay, he's never going to play. Symmetry is bothering me a little bit. Oh, by the way, guys, new merch coming out. Yeah, we got some new merch, especially L3 merch. We got some merch for the L3 game. So keep your eyes out for that. We also got more than just t-shirts now. We got hoodies, mugs, coffee mugs. So, keep your eye out for that. Going to be dropping them probably when I hit 10,000 subscribers. I think right now we're at like 9,870 or something like that. David Vandreff says, maybe quit your Uber job and become a sports agent. I don't think I'd be a very good agent. I think I found my calling with talking about the game and analyzing the game and providing a community and a voice for people who want to see American soccer grow and get better and push itself, Let's see. Did I miss any? Jacob Stopka, your analysis are always correct, Pete. Well, thank you, first of all, but I don't even agree with that. I make mistakes. I mean, look at Joe Scally. I was not high on Joe Scally at all. I thought when Gladbach made this move, I was like very skeptical. So I'm not always right. But I call things like I see them. I'm honest, right? I try to be. I try to be as honest and straightforward as I can be. And, there are plenty of times I get it wrong. There was, right before the Panama game, I had a terrible tweet saying, um, this lineup, while not great, is good enough to beat Panama. And the truth is, I actually regret that tweet, not just because it was wrong, but because I let myself down a little bit. I let the pressure get to me. I get a lot of hate, as you guys probably know, for being quote unquote negative. And I was trying to be positive before that game and hope that these guys would justify their selection by managing to, squeak out a 1-0 win, sort of the way we did at the Gold Cup, right? Truth is, when I saw that lineup, inside, I said, yeah, this is not going to work. And I should have just been honest and said that and taken the hate that comes with that from certain sectors. But I wasn't. And I let myself down with that tweet. So, no, I'm not always right, But I think in the future, the lesson I took from that is I'm always just going to say what I think, even if it's not necessarily popular or if it means I will get some hate for toxicity or negativity or whatever. Let's see. Imagine thinking Zardes should be the starter. Who thinks that? Probably Greg. Well, I think Greg thinks that Zardes is his number 2 right now after Pepe. Interesting thought from Maximus Primus. Scally is a 6. I can see it down the line. Maybe not his best position, but as a backup, I could see it. I could, especially in CONCACAF, like better than Acosta. I mean, if Acosta can play other positions, right? He can play left back, right back. Why can't Scally play as a 6? I wouldn't mind seeing that tried. I might do a video at some point about what do we do if Tyler Adams gets injured, because I don't think Acosta is the option. I don't think so. He's too inconsistent. We don't know what you're going to get when Acosta steps on the field as a 6. Is he going to be Gold Cup final Acosta, or is he going to be Panama Acosta? And it's not just Panama. Guys, Acosta has been actually poor for 75% of the games he's played this year. Okay? We just don't always get punished for it, so people don't realize it. It started off with Northern Ireland, right, in the friendly back in March. It was just awful, awful. And then in Nations League, he was okay in the final against Mexico. Okay, not great. And then for most of the Gold Cup, he was terrible, actually. The first 3 games, he was awful. He came on against Martinique and gives away a penalty. And then even against Haiti, he was terrible. And then slowly in the quarterfinal against Jamaica, he looked a little better and then had 2 strong games against Qatar and Mexico. But then since then, he hasn't looked good. So I don't think Acosta's the guy. The problem is there is no guy that is at Tyler Adams' level. Like if Adams gets injured, there's nobody that we can put in there that'll even give us 70% of what Tyler Adams gives us. So the question is, how do we, if you put McKennie or Musa, it's not the same. McKennie is not disciplined enough to play the 6, and he's not good enough in the build-out to play the 6, guys. So I think we have to probably go double pivot. I think, having McKennie and Musa there, or McKennie or Musa there, but with somebody else. Maybe with a guy like Luca de la Torre, who is good in the build-out. By the way, on Patreon this week, I'm going to do a breakdown of Luca de la Torre's game against Ajax, because although he had to do a lot of defending, which I've heard from people he can't do, he's not a good defender. He was actually very good against Ajax defensively, but it was also his ability in transition, his ability to take defense and turn it into attack very quickly that makes him so valuable for us. On top of his ability to break down a low block in the attack. But even when we're playing a team like significantly better than us, right? So, Heracles playing Ajax is the equivalent of the U.S. playing France. It's that big of a gap, right? Where they're going to dominate possession. They're going to dominate chances. And I think that him, in a double pivot maybe, and being able to quickly transition when we win the ball into attack is a very, very good quality to have. I'm not saying he should start for us yet. Certainly not if Adams is healthy. But as an option off the bench, as an option in the roster, I think Luca de la Torre should be there, certainly. Yeah, you could do a back three, Chris Gary, certainly. At 11 Yanks, Pete, if you and Filippo start a fan-owned club 20 years from now when MLS finally gets pro-rel, and can we all join? I'm thinking smack in the middle of the U.S. Let's say Lebanon, Kansas. First of all, I'd be very surprised if there's ever promotion relegation in the U.S. But hypothetically, that would be amazing. We could start the way they do in Germany, a fan-owned club where we all chip in. Obviously, we need some bigger investors because none of us are rich enough to. But we need a club that at least is 51% fan-owned. We'd have to do it in a big city. Otherwise, it's going to be very hard to attract people to come. So it couldn't be in a small town. But there are lots of big cities that don't have teams, tons of them. I mean, not big, but medium-sized cities, right? Las Vegas could still use a team. There are a couple of even Phoenix, Arizona. I know they, New Mexico, they could use a place. San Antonio is a big enough city that they could have a team. I think the North California could still, I guess they have San Jose. I think San Diego. Honestly, I think San Diego could use a team. Milwaukee, hell yeah, Bucky Doc. Milwaukee could use a team. San Diego could use an MLS team. Trying to think where else. Knoxville, Tennessee is growing very fast. I shot a TV show in Knoxville, and I think they could use a team. I'm trying to think where else. I think even Madison, Wisconsin could use a team. I love Madison. It's a great city. I really enjoyed Madison. I'd go up to Madison a lot when I lived in Chicago. I think Chicago could use a second team, especially the way the Chicago Fire are run. What a terrible, terrible shit show. Like Baltimore, yeah, for sure. Mike Hunt, Indy already has the Indy 11. Tampa, yeah. So guys, I mean, I agree. A lot of these places already have USL teams, but we're talking MLS teams, right? I would love to start a second team in Chicago, honestly, because I love Chicago as a city. I think that Chicago could be a great soccer city. It's a fantastic sports, city. Third biggest city in the country, right? Huge sporting culture, very diverse people from all over the country. Clean, beautiful, well thought out city. It's got so much food and art and culture and history, and it deserves to have a strong team. It really does. And it's so sad to see the Fire be so mismanaged. I would love a 30,000 seat soccer stadium in the north side, somewhere right near Wrigley somewhere. Place where people can get to by train, get there on the L, fan-owned, strong academy, developing young Americans. Chicago is also the home of U.S. soccer. That's where we have our federation headquarters. It deserves to have a strong soccer team, and that would be a dream if I could one day bring a second city to Chicago. A second team to Chicago. I would 100% do it. Maybe we can get Uncle Rocco to support it. Chicago House, check them out. CJ Brown is their coach. Look for them. Who's Chicago House? Are they a USL team? All right, Serge, we're going to have some issues with this guy. Chicago is not a good city. Tell me why, Serge. Why is Chicago not a good city? Because I think it's a great city. I mean, I don't love the weather. I'll give you that. The weather really sucks. But I think that everything from every other perspective, maybe it's a little expensive. I'll give you that. But most big cities are in the world, right? Most big cities are expensive. So Scally still playing right back. If you watch some Monchengladbach games, Scally switches to left back. We're in the second half now, guys. Sorry, 47th minute. Sometimes he switches to left back late in a game, which I think is good for him. It allows him to play two different positions. We'll see if he does that today. Depends if they sub out their left back and put him in there. But I think that's good for him to develop both sides because, versatility is a huge one for us, right? We still don't have a good backup for Anthony Robinson. right, at left back for us. I don't really rate Bello or Vines. I don't think either of them is going to be an elite fullback, and I might be wrong about that, and I'll call myself out if I am one day. But I don't really rate either of them. I just don't know if they have enough of the basics to be good in anything more than CONCACAF. I'm talking about a left back. We need a left back who, if Anthony Robinson is not able to go to a World Cup, we feel comfortable with them. Right now, that's probably Joe Scally. Jonathan Gomez is a prospect that could certainly be there. Maybe Kevin Paredes. Kevin Paredes, though, for me, can he defend? From what I've seen, he still has a lot to learn from a defensive point of view. Remember, Paredes has been a winger for most of his young career, right, in the academy. So I don't know if he can learn. He's still young. He's 18. But defending in isolation, 1v1 defending, his reading of the game from a defensive point of view is something he can definitely improve on. Jason says Long Beach. Yeah, I think Long Beach could definitely get a team. I love Long Beach. Great city. And not far from LA. The problem is it might be too close to LA Galaxies, too close to Carson. You know what I mean? This is very, very true. It was so sad watching the New York Red Bulls game be 30% full on a Saturday during a huge game for the playoffs. MLS has failed in New York. NYCFC needs a soccer-specific stadium. Agreed, Chris. It's so sad what they've done in New York, man. It's like you have a team that's not in New York that nobody cares about. They never fill that place up. And it's only it's a beautiful stadium. That's the thing. A 25,000-seat soccer-specific stadium. It's just so poorly placed for New Yorkers to go to, right? And then you have New York City playing in a baseball stadium, and they keep talking about the soccer-specific stadium. It's been in 9 years now, or 8 years. Come on, guys. It's such a joke. New York, come on. It's one of the greatest cities in the world, and we can't give them a soccer-specific stadium in New York. Come on, think how big it could be. I mean, the support, the fan base for NYCFC, even playing in a baseball stadium, is huge. Give them a proper home. Make it a thing. Make soccer popular. And New York is such a soccer city, right? It's such an international, diverse city. So many Italians and Irish and so much European tradition there, Hispanic. Come on, there's so much soccer in that city. You have the Cosmos, so much soccer history, so many good guys, so many good American players who came from New York. Dude, it's so sad the way we've let down both Chicago and New York. At least LA, you can say they've got two good teams, two committed fan bases, two engaged fan bases. At least they've done a good job in LA. But New York and Chicago, I think Chicago should get a second team run by me and Filippo. Although I don't think Filippo would like to live in Chicago. Ann Arbor, it might be a little small there, Connor. Might be a little small. Kevin Polite says, excuse me, MLS is doing so much better in smaller markets. Austin, KC, Portland, yeah, even in Seattle, Atlanta, right? The thing is, there are a lot of older franchises in MLS, the original franchises that are doing poorly, and that's because they've stagnated, right? They got their little franchise and they're happy with it. Look at FC Dallas. You can admire their, commitment to their youth development, and that's great. But at some point, they're going to have to figure out how to get fans in that stadium. It's so poorly. I don't know what it is in Dallas. If it's just because the stadium's in Frisco, but Frisco's kind of an upcoming city. I don't know why they can't fill up a 20,000-seat stadium, especially in a place like Dallas with such a big Hispanic audience and with all that fascinating youth. Maybe FC Dallas fans can tell me, does it bum you out that you get all these young players and then you sell them so you never actually get to watch your good players stay there for very long? I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts on that. Can you imagine how good Dallas would be if they'd kept Reggie Cannon, Ricardo Pepi, Paxton Pomykal, Brian Reynolds, if Brian Reynolds was still there. Brian Reynolds left too early, man. He should have stayed in Dallas a little bit longer. Give me another good cross, Scally. And intelligence of that cross is great. He didn't just lump it into the box. He actually found the player on the cutback. For those of you watching just now. Scott Rodriguez with a very good point. Hispanics does not translate to MLS fans. I agree with you. Although, if you go to most MLS stadiums, Scott, I'd say at least 50% of the fans are Hispanic, right? I think there are a lot of people. This is what I was thinking about the other day. There are a lot of soccer fans in the U.S. who don't watch MLS. It's not an interesting soccer to them. The quality of play is poor from a lot of people's perspective, understandably, and the lack of stakes is a big problem, right? The lack of stakes, no promotion, relegation, just the sort of the lack of growth, the mediocrity of MLS sometimes, the poor defending. There's a lot of reasons to not watch. Now, I will always watch MLS because I want soccer in this country to grow, and this is the soccer we have. But I totally understand why some people are like, I'll watch Liga MX and I'll watch European soccer, but I'm not going to watch MLS. And I don't blame them for that. I really don't. I'll tease this. I'll tease this a little bit, guys. When I was talking to the Venezia owner about this, he was saying one of the reasons he didn't, invest in MLS is because of the closed system, and the lack of stakes is not interesting to American investors. And what we keep hearing from people is, oh, investors would never go for promotion relegation. This is the guy who used to work on Wall Street talking about how, the closed system is not interesting to him as an investor. It's just not. You can take a team like Venezia, who was in Serie D back in 2015, and with good investment and smart management, progress them through the ranks. That's an interesting project. That's an interesting idea. In MLS, you have to put $300 million in just for the opportunity to then spend another couple $100 million running a team with a bunch of rules that will essentially say your quality is going to be limited and your ability to play, interesting, beautiful, free-flowing soccer against good teams is going to be limited. So it's harder for owners to invest, So Scott, very good point. Just because somebody is Hispanic doesn't mean they're going to watch MLS. Although, like I said, go to any MLS stadium and just have a look around. Have a look around at who are the MLS supporters, right? I think at least 50% of the MLS watching audience in the stadiums is Hispanic, at least from what I've seen. Maybe there's other markets. Now that is Chicago, Dallas, and Los Angeles. That's where only MLS stadiums I've seen. Now it might be different in a place like Portland, obviously. But I'd say if you look at the MLS in-game stadium audience, a good 50% of it probably is Hispanic. All right. Alex Espinosa, I really don't want to watch MLS. David Contreras, what about another Canadian MLS team? I think Canada needs to focus on getting their own league together right now. I think for Canada to really grow, they need to have their own league, And I know this will never happen, but down the line, I would love Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal to play in the Canadian League and leave MLS. I know it's never going to happen, but I think Canada's starting their own league now, and that's great to see, and with their national team getting so good and Canada probably going to Qatar, it's a great time for the Canadian League to really bump itself up, and especially in anticipation of 2026. And there are way too many teams in MLS. Like, guys, 30 teams is not interesting. It's too many teams to keep track of, Send 3 of them back to Canada. I have no problem with that. Now, Canadian fans, Toronto fans are going to hate me. Yeah, Gavin Power says it well. MLS just gets too dull. Nothing to play for with a closed system. Exactly. This is, again, I just finished talking to the Venezia owner yesterday, and he was talking about this. He was like, you can be terrible in MLS for years with no consequences. You don't get relegated. Nothing happens. If anything, you get a top draft pick next year. Look at Cincinnati. Passionate fan base, right? 3 years now in the league. What are they doing? What are they doing? Everywhere else in the world, you're not good enough. Okay, go play in the second division, right? And now you have to fight and claw your way back up. And when you're back up, you have to really make sure you invest well. You have to have good players, good coaches, smart people running the team. Okay, there's no room for error. There's no room for mediocrity. In MLS, there's so much room for mediocrity. It's ridiculous. Look at Chicago Fire. They've been terrible for 10 years. 10 years. No consequences. No consequences. All right. 80s nostalgia guy. Does Liga MX have Pro Rel? No, they don't. Not anymore. They just voted to stop having pro-rel, but they did for years. And the reason they stopped is because they're trying to imitate the American sports model. Money. It's not about the growth of the game. Money. Australia doesn't have promotion relegation. Yeah, there are a few in the world that do not. Australia, the US, Canada, now Mexico. But I'm a huge proponent of promotion relegation. I think it adds extra incentive to the game. There are some things about the American sports model that are really good that we bring to the soccer landscape. Like, for example, I love the playoff system. I think the playoff system works. I think having an actual final, sort of Super Bowl style, I love that. I wouldn't change that about MLS. I do think that the Supporter Shield should get more stakes, though. Like, you should get more than – there should be more to the Supporter Shield, in my opinion, because there's something about being the best team throughout the season that is definitely deserves more merit. But I have no problem with the playoff format in MLS. The lack of promotion relegation, that's the one that just allows too many teams to stay in mediocrity forever. And these rich ass owners can use MLS as a tax write-off and not really care that much about their team, right? Come on, Scally. Come on. Another thing I like about Scally's game is he doesn't just lob hopeful crosses into the area. A lot of players that don't have a lot of technical quality, as soon as they, another great cross from Scally. How many good crosses has he put in? They're just like lob crosses into the box. But if the cross is not on, if he doesn't think he has the opportunity for a good cross, he'll keep the ball. He'll keep possession. And oftentimes when one of his crosses does go in the box, like the one he put in just now, it's a great cross. And now he's won a corner from that cross, right? Well done, Joe Scallywag. Scallywag Joe. That should have been assist number 2. Yeah, I agree, Matt. It's not that Cincy are not trying. It's that their management is terrible, right? As soon as you saw them build their roster from the beginning with a bunch of cast-offs from other teams and no real quality, I said, this is not going to work. I knew it. I saw that. I was like, nope, they have no idea what's going on. Hawaii needs an MLS team. That would be kind of cool, actually. Hawaii getting an MLS team. Might be a bit of a – can you imagine, though, New England having to play Hawaii? New England has to travel 12-hour flight or whatever it is to get to Hawaii, 11 hours. That could be a problem. In Honolulu, do you think there's soccer fans in Honolulu enough? Puerto Rico had a team. Puerto Rico could be cool, Juan. Even if we didn't have full-on promotion relegation, even if MLS just grew to 40 teams and then divided it into 2 leagues, MLS 1 and MLS 2, and then you just had promotion relegation between those 2 leagues, I think that alone would already be better, right, than what we have right now. But ideally, what you want is to incorporate USL down the line and say, okay, to enter, USL has 2 divisions and MLS has 2 divisions. So you have USL 1, USL 2, MLS 1, MLS 2. And any team can start, not any team, but maybe you can try to get into USL 2 and then work your way up, buy a team, put it in USL 2. Because that I would love to be involved with something like that. Be involved with a team that starts in USL 2 and slowly gets promoted through the divisions and then makes it one day to MLS. I would love that. Absolutely love that. But I don't know if that's ever going to happen. Although I do hear that USL is talking about having promotion relegation within their own 2 leagues. I've heard they've discussed it. Some of the owners are for it, and some of them are not. So we'll see what happens there. Man, some of the defending by Monchengladbach today hasn't really been punished, but the defending in transition has not been good. Shrey Set says, Brian Ching says hi. Hey, Mike. Hey, Pete, have you watched Samuel Sashoa from Tenerife? I have not. But I've heard some interesting things about him. I watch him right now. Serge S. The score is currently 2-0 to Monchengladbach in the 61st minute. Scally continuing to play well from what I've seen. I haven't seen everything he's done because I'm going back and forth between talking to you guys and watching. But yeah, seems to be having a pretty good game. Got an assist for the opening goal. Clean sheet. So as a fullback, you got to give him credit for that. Has had a few moments where, maybe in defending transition, you would like him to react a little quicker, for sure. But overall, I think he's been a net positive. A lot of really threatening crosses into the box. And not just threatening, but intelligent. There was one earlier where instead of just lumping a ball into the box from across, he pulled it back and actually found a fellow Gladbach player on the edge of the box. This is what you want. You want intelligent crossing, right? Not just whip it in. Low percentage balls into the box where, sure, maybe, one out of 20 times you might connect with a player, but it's about being intelligent and understanding when to cross, where to cross. Are you looking for somebody with that cross? Is there a specific player you think's in a good position? Or are you just whipping a hopeful ball in and seeing if we can win second balls? That's what a lot of teams do, especially in England. They love that. Put it in the box, win second balls, yeah? Then we go from there, right? Okay, lads, come on. Like, that's a very English way of being. That's what the Premier League was for years until the Europeans came in and made it better. Just don't tell the English that. Arsene Wenger was the first guy to go to the Premier League and try to make it better. In the late 90s. What was it, late 90s? Early 90s. It was all a bunch of athleticism. The problem with the English Premier League was in the 60s, this guy basically developed this theory that, he watched a lot of game tape. I don't remember his name, but we studied this in my degree in university. Is it they developed this theory that, you score the most goals from 2 to 3 passes, from fewer passes. So when you get the ball, get it forward as quickly as possible. And so what that did is it created a culture from developing players from a very young age all the way up to the Premier League of directness, right? Let's go forward and not go forward, quickly with the ball at your feet. It was played into the channel. It was play it in behind, play it into the air, win second balls. Very direct. Mbolo. Is that Mbolo? Oh, come on. Maybe that's not Mbolo. Yeah, it is Mbolo. Got to do better than that, Mbolo. And so that affected the way they train young players, the way they developed everybody. And it's why England for years was just terrible technically, right? The whole Lampard, Gerrard generation, the Nevilles, the Beckhams, it was all about directness. Look at those long balls, look at those crosses. But they couldn't play, in compressed time and space. They weren't very technical. So when they would go play at World Cups or Euros, they were just awful. Now they've changed that 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago. They started developing players better. And a lot of that is European influence, Spanish, French coaches, people coming into England and, giving them better ways of doing things. But it was a cultural thing for a long time, which is why the Premier League was so direct and boring for so long to watch. Luke Wilson, verticality. Yeah, exactly. I would love to hear, okay, Gavin Power says, even though he proposed the World Cup, the 2-year World Cup cycle, Arsene Wenger is a true football guy. I agree. What do you guys think about the World Cup every 2 years? Do you want to see it? Do you not want to see it? Why or why not? Terrible throw. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Personally, I got mixed feelings on it. I think that 2 years is a little bit too often. But on the other hand, I as an American, okay, our national team doesn't get to play quality teams in competitive games. Okay, we don't have a Euros, we don't have a Copa America. We have the Gold Cup. Gold Cup, as you guys saw, you don't even have to be really very good to win the Gold Cup. Our third team won it. I just don't think in order to develop, we need to play better teams, okay, on a regular basis, more seriously. Now, there's ways to do that without having a World Cup every 2 years. One of the ways is let's join Copa America. We can still play in Gold Cup, okay, because it's the alternative years now, right? We can still play in Gold Cup with our second team or our C and D teams, and then our A and B team go to Copa America. I think that having Mexico, Canada, and the US send their first teams to Copa America would make Copa America better, both from a quality standpoint, right? You have more quality teams coming in, and you have more interest. I mean, you have the entire North American continent being even more interested in Copa America now. So from a TV viewership standpoint, that would be huge for Copa America, right? And it would be good for us, for all three of us, for Canada, Mexico, and, the US, because now we're playing quality teams in competitive environments and we have a chance to actually win a trophy, maybe not right away, but you're playing teams better than you and some on the same level as you. That's how you get better. But if we're not going to play in Copa America and there's no more Confederations Cup, so you don't get that tournament anymore, we're just going to have like CONCACAF Nations League and CONCACAF Gold Cup. It's like a joke, Another option is maybe to have the World Cup every 3 years instead of, because 4 years is a long time, right? And I understand 2 years might be a little too much, but I would be open to discussions about every 3 years. I think that that's a nice middle ground between 2 and 4. But I also see reasons why people don't want that either. But I do think the better solution is for us to play Copa America. So every 2 years, you have a legitimate, difficult, quality tournament to play in. Look, if Copa America had Canada, US, and Mexico, it could rival the Euros in popularity. It really could. Because you would have it's already named Copa America. You have both the Americas, all of the Americas playing. And I think that would be awesome. And you don't always have to do it in, South America. Sometimes you could do it in the US, Mexico, the way you do it in the Euros, I wouldn't be a fan of moving it to the US just for money reasons, because I think there's something beneficial to playing it in South America and its home, and for the US playing in hostile places in South America and getting used to that environment. I would hate just moving it to the US, but I could see the US hosting it once every 5 or 6 times. You know what I mean? Yeah, the way we did the Copa America Centenario, except that I don't think we should host it in the US all the time, the way we do Gold Cup, just because we have, the stadiums and the money and the fan support and all of that here. I still think we should host it in South America most of the time, right? Or just rotate it like you do with the Euros. Rotate it. Put sometimes in South America, sometimes in North America. Everyone gets a chance to host. That's how I would do it. We should invite African nations and Asian nations to the Gold Cup. It would be cool to have Ghana and Nigeria playing. Yeah, I can see that. Invite Japan, South Korea, like the 4 best teams from both countries. Like invite Japan, South Korea, Australia, and say Iran to the Gold Cup. And then from Africa, you get Ghana, Ivory Coast, Nigeria, and Egypt. I think that would be cool. That would be real cool. Oh, wait. USMNT playing Copa in Uruguay is still talked about. When is the next Copa? Is it it's not next year, right? Is it? I think it's 2023. Yeah, the next one's in 2023. Is that right? I think it is. 2023. Big Chunkus says, don't invite Qatar. Yeah, so 2023, that's 6 months after the World Cup. That would be amazing to play. Because you have to remember, guys, in that cycle, we don't have World Cup qualifying for the 2026 cycle. So there's going to be even fewer competitive games for us to play. It's just going to be Nations League and Gold Cup for 4 years. Do we really want that? Hell no. Let's go play in Copa America. Let's get invites to like African Cup of Nations. Can you imagine going and playing African Cup of Nations? I would dig it. Or Asian Cup even. But honestly, I think the way forward has to be Copa America. Make Copa America a 16-team tournament, 10 from South America. I don't know about 6 from North America, honestly. I just don't think most of the teams in North America can compete in Copa America. I think the U.S. can. I think Mexico can, and probably Canada. But, I mean, look at World Cup qualifying. It's kind of a joke, some of these teams. Like Panama, what are they going to do? You know what I mean? Like when Panama went to the World Cup and gets smashed 6-1 by England, who does that benefit? You know what I mean? But I swear to God, a Copa America, guys, that included both continents could rival the Euros for popularity and for TV numbers. I really believe that, you know? And I think that's what we should focus on and keep the World Cup every 4 years. And then every 2 years, we have a decent tournament. And then in the off years, we have Gold Cup. And we can use Gold Cup as a breeding ground for some of our young players. Like make it an under-23 tournament for the U.S., right? Make it competitive for some of the other teams and just send our younger guys. You know, maybe the guys who aren't in our top 25 player pool, use it as a chance for them to get some experience, for them to make their case to be involved with the national team. I would love that. I would love that. Kelly Rawlings, I don't like every 2 years. I think it would take away from the quality of the top leagues during the season, too much for the players. Yeah, I agree. And then also, those local tournaments matter. Euros matter. Copa America matters. African Cup of Nations, Asian Cup. Those are a chance for most of these teams to win something, right? A lot of teams that will never win a World Cup have a chance to compete for a trophy within their continent. And that's great. We shouldn't do away with those. We shouldn't do away with Gold Cup, by the way. We should just, close one. We should use Gold Cup as a breeding ground for our younger, talented players who can absolutely compete in Gold Cup. It also gets boring for Gold Cup if it's always a USA-Mexico final, right? It's like nobody else has a shot. Imagine Acosta lining up against Neymar. Oh my God, can you imagine? That's why I don't want Acosta going to Qatar, right? Like Acosta in Qatar, can you imagine if he gets isolated against a Neymar or something like that? Oof. Copa America is 2024 pushed back from COVID, and this year's Copa America Brazil, 2021. Wait, hang on. Was it supposed to be 2023? Is that why, guys? Is it supposed to be 23, 25, 27, or are they doing every 4 years now? Copa America. Someone educate me on this because I'm a little confused. I got lost in the whole switch over that they did. Oh, this is a good one from Ilyas Abdi. Where would the USMNT finish in the African Cup of Nations, in your opinion? Under Greg Berhalter, I think they'd probably make the semifinals, maybe. Make the semifinals and be like a top 3 team or something, top 3 or 4 team. Because I think they can compete, honestly. They can compete with Ghana, Ivory Coast, Egypt even. But I don't think we would be clear winners. You know what I mean? Gavin Power, thanks. The idea of Acosta and Leggett versus Brazil is the scariest thing I've seen this Halloween. Can you imagine? So, guys, 2023 now is Copa America in 2023. Does that mean the next Copa America is 2027, like the year after the World Cup? Or is it just pushed back from, do you understand? It was 2020 Copa America, but pushed back because of Civic every 4 years. So was it supposed to be 2024? I'm so confused. When is the next World Copa America after 2023? If somebody knows, tell me that. MAC, I agree. Oh, I know. Is that my friend MA who lives in Switzerland? Hey, MA, I'm going to call you back. Don't worry. I'm just on a live stream here. We're watching Borussia. We're watching your Swiss countryman, MA, Mbolo, play for Monchengladbach, but you probably don't even know who that is. Okay, Mauricio Cardoso says, Copa America in 24, 28, and 32. Gotcha. So it is, 24, 28 to 32. Hang on, let's see. I'll put Emma on the live stream. My friend from Switzerland calling me. Hey, are you on? You're live, Emma. You're live on YouTube. Oh, it's Mike. Oh, hang on, it's Mike. Hey, Mike, how you doing, man? Hey. Are you watching Embolo play? Oh no, you're an Italian fan, right? You're Italy fan. You're not Switzerland. That's your wife. These are my friends, Mike and Emma. They live in Switzerland. We used to know each other in India. You're not going to stop what? You guys are kind of ruining the live stream, though. All right, I'll call you guys after the stream. All right, I'll just leave them there. All right, 78th minute, guys. Borussia Moenchengladbach versus Bochum. Still 2-0 to Borussia Moenchengladbach, or as Filippo likes to call them, Borussia, not Dortmund. I think that's what he calls them. All right. Yeah, guys, 100%. The U.S. should absolutely play in Copa America, okay? But not just the U.S. The U.S., Mexico, and Canada every 4 years. Let's make it happen. 2024. 2024. That would be very cool. Very, very cool. We can keep the World Cup every 4 years. USA versus Senegal. 4 years. This year was 2021 because of COVID. Oh, okay. So surge finally with the information I was looking for. 2028 Copa America, Paraguay, right? 2024 Copa America in Ecuador. So every 4 years. This year was 2021 because of COVID was supposed to be in 2020 Brazil. So yeah, so this is great. We play the World Cup in 2022. A year and a half later, we have Copa America. 100% we should be there. And then again in 2028. I agree. I 100% agree. OC11, you saw the Pokal draw? No, I did not. Tell me who is playing who in the Pokal. Jim Morrison, LOL. Pete, do you think USA beat Germany right now? No. I mean, look, in a single game, anything can happen. In 90 minutes, anything can happen. But so, yeah, it's possible. The U.S. could beat Germany, 1 out of 10 times, maybe. Yeah. But 9 out of 10 times, Germany would beat the U.S. Marcio Cardoso. We would have a tournament every summer. Gold Cup, Copa America, another Gold Cup, World Cup. Agree. And if people are worried about player fatigue, we'll have a large enough player pool that we don't need to send the A team to Gold Cup. Mexico and the U.S. should send their B teams to the Gold Cup. And those B teams will still be better than most of CONCACAF. So it'll be a great way for us to, bring new players into the roster, to try out young players, to give them an opportunity to see if they can compete in CONCACAF while our A team plays in World Cups and in Copa America, right? Perfect. All right. Mike Hunt has a good El Padrino, no more coffee. Nope, that's not the one. Here. All right. How do you feel about combining CONMEBOL, CONCACAF feds? The travel is too much, in my opinion. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I don't think they need to be combined simply because from a World Cup qualifying perspective, travel would be way too much. They're all way too big. It's not like Europe, right, where everybody's within a, few 1,000-mile radius of each other. Like, can you imagine Canada having to play in Chile or Argentina? What that flight would be like? What is that, like 16-hour flight? So I wouldn't combine them for World Cup qualifying, but I would absolutely combine them for Copa America, And then we can still have Gold Cups and Nations League and CONCACAF qualifying in CONCACAF. And by the way, we have, CONCACAF still has to get better, right? We need to develop teams like Jamaica, Costa Rica, Panama, Curacao, Trinidad and Tobago. All these teams need to improve. It's good to see Canada improving, but we need more than 3 good teams in CONCACAF, right? So just for Copa America, Mike, is where I would combine them. Just for Copa America, and then otherwise keep them as 2 separate confederations. Greenland and CONCACAF. I wonder how many people actually live in Greenland. Let's look this up. Probably, I'm gonna make a guess. I'm gonna say less than 100,000. Population of Greenland. Yeah, 56,000 people. Don't think they have any soccer players there. And also it's too cold. Too cold. Do you guys know that interesting story about Greenland? The guy, I think he was Leif Erikson. Oh, shoot. Did someone just score? No. Oh, they're replaying the old game or the old goal. The guy who I think found Greenland and Iceland, I don't know if this is true, so look this up on the internet because I might be full of shit. But from what I remember reading as a kid, he wanted to live somewhere without a whole lot of people in it. And Greenland was, terrible, right? Very cold, very dark. So he called it Greenland so people would go there. And Iceland was actually pretty green and pretty sort of, useful for habitants, sort of a nice place for people to go live. You can actually live there. You can have a life. It's cold, but they do have some farmland. They do have some greenery. They do have a better environment for living. But he called Greenland Iceland and Iceland Greenland. He called them the names that they are to fool people and send people to Greenland. I don't know if that's true. Look that up on the internet. But I remember reading that as a kid, and it would not surprise me. It's 1 a.m. in my country. Why am I still here listening to some guy talk about their national team? I don't know, man. It's a good question. Why are you? Maybe it's just such a compelling topic, and maybe low key you're a USA national team fan. So you never know. The ideas you guys come up with. Pete, what if we convince Portugal, Italy, and Spain to join CONCACAF? Yeah, never going to happen, man. Never going to happen. Could be cool. We already have all of Ronaldo's kids born in the U.S., so they're already American. Can you sing a chant at the end of every show? Tamale Killer, I'm not trying to lose subscribers here. Okay, if I start singing at the end of every show, people are just going to turn it off and unsubscribe. So, trying to keep people interested in my soccer channel. Gio Reyna is going to put the U.S. on the world map. Yes, he is. I don't think people realize how good Gio Reyna is going to be. I've said it before, and you can call me out on this. I think that Gio Reyna will be a Ballon d'Or contender one day. I didn't say he's going to win Ballon d'Or, but I think he's going to be a Ballon d'Or nominee one day. That's how good this kid can be. All right, guys. Those of you who watched the video that I did this week on the chants, I proposed 4 different chants. I want you guys to tell me which one you like the best out of those 4. So the first one was the goat one, goats, goats, we the goats. The second one was the My Bonnie, right? That I turned into, the bring back the guys to the U.S. to play. The third one was the Gio Reyna chant based on the Queen song We Will Rock You. And the fourth one was Cheers to You, Miles Robinson. Of those 4, which one do you guys like best? I'm curious. Or none. You can say none. You can be like, no, none of them are good. They're all terrible. Stop singing on your YouTube channel and talk about soccer. See, look at this atmosphere, just watching the Bochum chants and watching them play, the fans. Just Bochum, one team in Germany already. So much better than anything you see in MLS. Make the Gio Reyna chant into shirts, Pete, equals dollars. Here's the thing, Packy. If you... Oh, shit. Free kick goal for Bochum. Near post. That's on the keeper. All right, 5 minutes left. Thankfully, it didn't come from Joe Scally's side. People like the Gio Reyna one. Some people like the Robinson one. Sam Walker likes Robinson. O Padrino likes Reyna and Robinson. Chris Johnson likes them all. Alex K. Robinson, easy to sing. Tamale Killer likes My Bonnie. Here's the thing, Packy. If I make them into shirts, it's just going to be Gio Reyna. So it doesn't give you a feel for the song if you just see Gio Reyna on a shirt. Secondly, I can't actually use players' names on a shirt, at least not their full name, because of copyright issues, right? If I use their likeness and sell a t-shirt, then I'm taking advantage of their likeness to sell, and I'm not allowed to do that. I could maybe get away with putting their first name. So example, if I had a t-shirt that said Tyler Weston Giovanni, okay, those are generic names that could be anybody's name. So I could maybe get away with that, but I definitely can't get away with putting anybody's full name on a t-shirt because then I'm using their likeness. And that is not only illegal, but not fair, right? Let's see. Kelly Rawlings said, I lived there for a year. Where did you live, Kelly? All right. Oh, wow. This is another free kick for. Oh, no, this is a free kick for Monchengladbach. Here's to you, Miles Robinson. The fans, we love you more than you will know. Whoa, whoa, whoa. And Anthony, left back Robinson, putting crosses in the box all day. Hey, hey, hey. I like that one. I think it could be good. So what I'm thinking of doing with the songs, guys, is maybe starting a Twitter account called USMN Tunes, and basically just having it be a place where people can submit their ideas for songs. Because a lot of people submitted good ideas in the comments on YouTube and on Twitter. And I think there are a lot of good ideas out there. What we have to do is we have to curate them and find out which ones are the most popular. Because if we can find out which ones are the most popular, then we can maybe use some kind of a voting system and maybe find the top 5 and then encourage people to sing those top 5 at the games. Because if we have too many, we're not going to go anywhere. To make actual change, we have to be united and we have to be persistent about it. So we have to pick maybe 5 or 6 songs that we all really like, that everybody's on board with, and sing those 5 or 6 consistently at games. Even if the Outlaws don't want to do it, and that's a whole different story, that's fine. But it can grow off the post. Oh, there you go. Dang. What a goal. Oh, is it offside? Oh, offside. Yeah, he's off. He's off. Wait, was that Joe Scally with the? No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't this. That wasn't Scally with the scissor kick. I thought it was, but it's not. It is not. Best World Cup I've ever watched, Ilyas Abdi, was 2002. I really liked 2002. Maybe because that's the one that the U.S. did so well at and beat Mexico at. Mike Hunt. Pete, what is your favorite show? Or favorite horror movie? I don't actually watch much horror. But I don't know if it counts as horror. Does M. Night Shyamalan's Signs count as a horror film? Because if so, that's one of my favorites, with Mel Gibson and Joaquin Phoenix. That's one of my favorite ones. The I Believe chant needs to go. Yeah, I agree with you, Matt. A lot of us feel that way. All right. Well, submit it. So here's the thing, guys. If I make this Twitter account, USMN Tunes, then what we do is we get everyone to submit, their songs or their chants, whatever. And then I put a different one on Twitter every day, and people can vote, by liking and retweeting. And then maybe at the end of a month, the 5 songs that got the most likes or retweets, we sort of co-opt as, the fans' songs, and we push those 5 songs regularly and persistently, and we get everybody to sing them during the games so that we have better options and hopefully create better atmosphere down the line. FIFA America, what's up, Pete? I'm excited about your crusade to change the chants. Thank you, Jake. Thank you. I think it's all of our crusade, though. For it to work, it has to be all of our crusade. Everybody has to be on board, because it's not going to happen if it's just a few of us, right? We need everybody together. We need everybody together, singing the songs, forcing the fans, the Outlaws, everybody in the stadium to hear our voices, to hear something cool and something different. And imagine for our players, if you've got guys like even Gio Reyna. I mean, he's cocky already, so I don't know how much he needs a confidence boost, but to hear that chant, can you imagine 80,000 fans at a World Cup, guys, Americans? Gio Reyna. Just try to imagine that in your head, what that would sound like and how great that would be. Yes, Mike, I know. I know. I'll help you out next time, Mike. I'll say Mike Hunt. Is that better? ProfitStockAlerts.com. This is not a political channel. This is a soccer channel. We're going to talk about soccer only. We're not bringing politics into this for any reason. All right. Who put the ball? That's an interesting idea, Connor. It's an interesting idea to who let the dogs out, except you hit who put the ball in Mexico's net. Who, yeah, I can see it. Might be a little awkward depending on the team that you're playing. You know, I think it works best if you're playing a 2-syllable team. You know, imagine Costa Rica, like who put the ball in Costa Rica's net? I don't know if it would really work. But maybe not a bad idea. See, what we need to do is filter out all the songs to the ones that people love the most, because there's no like best or not best. They're probably all good to a degree. We have to find out is what ones do the fans like the most, which ones will get the most traction going forward, and then push those 5 or 6 as a starting point. Oof, dang, close one from Bochum. We need to have our own sacked in the morning chant. Yeah, we do, Liam, for Greg Berhalter. FIFA America in the building. Love the channel, man. Trinidad and Tobago, LOL. Yeah, can you imagine that chant with Trinidad and Tobago? Who scored the goal in Trinidad and Tobago's net? Doesn't really work. Was Scally at fault for the goal? No, Wolf Boy, he wasn't. It didn't even come from his. It was a free kick, first of all, so it's not his fault. It was a direct free kick. And the free kick itself was on the other side of the field, not his side. I actually didn't see how the free kick was won, so I don't know. Maybe Scally did the foul, committed the foul to earn that free kick, but I don't think so because he's playing right back. So I doubt it very much. Juan Salazar, I didn't see Testmen play today, but I know that some people did, and they said he was decent. I think that he was good defensively, but maybe in possession might not have been as good. That's one of the takes that I've heard. Luis Estrada. All right, I will answer this question because the game's almost over, and then I will sign off, guys. Are you from Boston? I notice you have an accent, but can't figure out what it is, LOL. So I've faced this question many times. I've even been accused of putting on a fake accent. But my accent is a mutt accent. It doesn't belong to any one place. Alex, yeah, my internet is, glitching a little bit. So hang on. Let's watch this Bochum free kick first. Probably last kick of the game, or one of the last ones for sure. Oh, they brought their keeper up and everything for it. Game over. 2-1 win for Borussia Moenchengladbach. Assist for Joe Scally. And pretty strong performance from the lad. Good to see. I will answer this question from Luis Estrada. Yeah, it's a mutt accent. I born to American parents, born and raised in Thailand, studied in the UK, worked in India for 7 years, moved to Chicago, and now Los Angeles. So my accent is a sort of amalgamation of all the different places I've lived in my life. It doesn't belong to any one place. That's why nobody can place it. It's very hard to place. I've heard Canadian, I've heard Irish, I've heard Bostonian, I've heard Minnesotan a lot. A lot of people think I'm from, Minnesota. I've heard Australia, South Africa, England, Scotland, Wales. I've heard so many things, but it is a mutt accent. Chris Gary says, rate Scally. So, Chris, I didn't watch Scally that closely because I was talking to you guys. But from what I've seen, I would give him a solid 8, where he played well, was involved in the goal, didn't have any major mistakes. From what I saw, had a few moments where I thought could have been a little better to react defensively in transitions. But I thought he had a very good game. Not perfect, but I give him an 8. But put an asterisk on that because I didn't watch him that closely. I was mostly interacting with you guys while trying to keep an eye on the game. This is why I don't like doing live watch-alongs during USMNT games, because I really want to watch the game so that when I talk about it, I'm as educated as I can be and knowledgeable as I can be about it, and not just like spewing, out of my ass like some people do. Not Filippo, by the way. I'm not talking about Filippo. But I have seen people who barely watch a game and then talk about it like they did, and I just don't think that's fair. And I think it's a disingenuous way to be. So I'll give Scally an 8, but keep in mind I could be wrong because I didn't watch him that closely. Juan Salazar, last question. I noticed you're able to pronounce some Spanish words quite well. Yeah, I think ever since I was a kid, Juan, I got lucky with accents. I can do accents quite well. And that translates to when I'm learning another language. It's easy for me to adapt to their accent better than for some. Still not great. Like, if I say, ¿Por qué terminaste conmigo? It's decent, but it's not a great Spanish accent. So I am learning Spanish. I'm hopefully going to get better at it, guys. Last one, Wilmer Sanchez. When is USMNT roster out for November? Either Tuesday or Wednesday, Wilmer. So I'll talk to you guys later. All right, guys. Thanks for watching today. Good game. Happy Halloween. Enjoy your parties and your trick-or-treating and whatever else you got planned for tonight. And I will have a video out. The next video I have out is going to be probably the day the roster drops. So if it's Tuesday or Wednesday, we'll have a video out then. Have a great one, guys. See you later.